the state and other areas. So we're going to go kind of high level, talk about some of the cost factors that are affecting us here as well. So historical cost inflation. So for those that run businesses, do other items, we all know that the cost of everything has gone up, right? We go to the grocery store, we go anywhere, cost has gone up. The historical trend, and this is looking at the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, that historical average 2012 through 2020, about 1.5%. We like that sweet spot around 1.5% to 2% is good. During COVID, we saw this large jump up to 5.73%. And there is 1 year in there that was up over 8% in inflation. Now, we did see some recovery. Now, I will say that recovery is a reduction in the growth rate. We've never seen a recovery from inflation for how much we've absorbed over this time period. And over that time period, you know, we've seen in the last 5 years almost 23% cost increases for what we're seeing through this index. Now, the current trend through May, it was up to 4.25. I will say, as some of the items with Iran and fuel prices have been ebbing and flowing this. In June, it dropped down to 3.5, but we'll continue to watch it. Regardless, under both scenarios, you're still exceeding that long-time historical average of sitting about 1.5 to 2%. And this is an important thing because it articulates into many things that we pay for. We deal with a lot of material, other costs, and everything goes into our operations. Now, outside of the Consumer Price Index, that's a certain particular bag of goods, if you will, for what they look at that. Just pulling other indexes, we won't go through many of these. We just wanted to give you the perspective from a building cost index. So as we're building roads, we're building new fire stations, we're building other items in the county, that CPI is articulating right into all of these other costs. We're seeing, you know, quarters going up. We're seeing 2025, we were up over 4% increased in those costs. That's construction costs. Now there's employment costs, there's other items. From the fuel index, again, if you go back to 2020, we were sitting a little over $2 a gallon, and this comes from the AAA, from their analysis. Oh, sorry, not on this one. This one's actually the U.S. Energy information. So average rates shot up to $4.50. We dropped down, continue to see recovery in 2025. We've shot up again into June of 26. Ultimately, what you're seeing from 2020 to 26 is over an 84% increase in the cost of fuel. Now, we have a lot of operations that are dependent upon fuel. You've got fire rescue, you've got sheriff, you've got road and bridge. As we're covering the geography of the county, there's a lot of driving for many of these operations, and so that has an impact in many of our costs as well. When we talk about wages and salary, I know we've had a lot of discussion over this over the past couple of years. With what was approved by the Florida voters, raising that minimum wage, so we went up from $8.56 an hour up to $15 in what we're looking at in 26. That's a 75% cost increase in minimum wage. That has a direct or indirect impact in many wages. And so over that time period, what we've seen is the state has increased law enforcement salaries that are articulated into the sheriff and other operations going up. We've been working through union negotiations to get above the minimum wage, make sure we're there. It has a direct impact to all of these as it has a compaction effect for everybody who is above the minimum wage as well. And so that comes through. So when you're looking at the cost for material, when you're looking at the cost for labor, all of these things have contributed to the increased cost that we see in our budget and those demands for services. Any question on those areas? All right. Jumping into the revenue projections. So we know costs are going up. What we wanted to look at is how are our revenue faring over the next couple of years. What this chart shows is, and so historically we've showed a chart that is the total ad valorem value in the county, and we see that increasing, and we know that during the last recession we lost about 25% of our revenue in a short time period, took a period to recover. What we wanted to do this year was looking at from a kind of a different perspective. What this chart is showing is the percent change in the ad valorem growth year over year. So what that means is in the far right column, for 26-27, we see an ad valorem growth or taxable value